Welcome to Mindset and Muscles with Amanda. I am your host, Amanda Ferlisi. Welcome back if you've listened before, or welcome if you are new. I am so excited to have my guest today, Dr.
Yay.
Ashley Cruz.
Hello,
I'm going to
hello.
say a little introduction about you, and then I want to hear all the things about you because you're super inspiring. So
Oh, thank
you're
you.
welcome. Dr. Ashley Cruz is a Latina chiropractor in New York City, as well as an anatomy and neurology professor. Her practice treatment style focuses on soft tissue work and corrective exercise, as it is important for her patients to not only get relief, but learn the skills to help them become self sufficient when it comes to their pain, using it as a tool rather than something to be afraid of. Ashley, thank you so much for being on this podcast and
Thank you for
welcome.
having me. Yay, I'm
Yes.
so excited to get into it with you.
Yes, me too. I mean, I do want to say a little tidbit about how Ashley and I connected because, like, I can't make this shit up. So, Ashley dates, she has a boyfriend, hopefully soon to be, you know. So,
Fiance.
they are friends. I met Ashley through Maurizio, my fiance, and one day I woke up during like quarantine and I couldn't move, and I was like, Maurizio,
Mm.
I can't move. And he's like, what do you mean you can't move? So if anyone's watching, I was like this. And he's like, oh, well, we got to call Ashley. And I was like, okay, who's Ashley? Let's call her right now because I'm sure she can help. So Ashley, via FaceTime, single-handedly fixed me. So that was my first chiropractic experience. So Ashley, please explain what you do and how you came about this.
Yeah, I mean, tons to unpack here, man. So, yeah, as you said, like you had a little bit of a pinched nerve when we FaceTime that day.
Mhm.
And we worked it out through corrective exercise. So, chiropractic, like for many, many years, is was known as the, place where you get your back cracked or adjusted. And that like wheelhouse of what chiropractic is has changed so much over the course of time. Even from my graduation day to now, I'm not really in the same mindset or in the same practice style as I was when I graduated. So yeah, chiropractic, if I had to explain it to someone who had no idea, I would say that we are like the body mechanics. It's like the easiest way to kind of explain it.
Mhm.
And we work with muscles and how muscles attach to the bones of our body and move the joints, and how the nervous system plays in with all that, because we have nerves that are signaling all of these muscles to act, right? So it's about reconciling all of that and helping people to not only just manage pain when it comes up, but also re-enter them into functional movement, which is a huge thing for me through corrective exercise. So super, super important for me to empower my patients through not only me treating them physically, which feels so great and it's
Mhm.
amazing and the adjustment is amazing. However, I want to give those people a chance to be able to correct issues when I'm not around. Because most of the time I'm not around, right? We got to know how to deal with life as it hits us
Right.
and mitigate that for sure. So empowerment is like huge for me when I treat.
It's funny that you bring up like cracking backs and things like that. So again, my very first experience with a chiropractor was with you. I was like
Mm.
telling you all the things. And now prior to that, the only treatment I've ever gotten was physical therapy. So I was under the assumption, I was like, Maurizio, how is she going to help me on FaceTime? Because
No,
doesn't
totally.
she have to like snap, crackle, and pop me and like break my neck? And like, I'm honest to God, have like, you're the only person I'm going to ever go to, just so you know. Like, I don't care if you're in Brooklyn and I'm in Boston, like, this
Yeah.
is what's happening. Um, but my whole misconception was she's going to crack me. That's it.
Yeah.
So, where, like, when you went to, all right, so first and foremost, where did you go to college?
I went to New York Chiropractic College. It's up in Seneca Falls, and I think they changed the name to the Northeast College of Health Sciences because we have tons of other programs other than
Mm-hmm.
that now. But yeah, went to school up there, and definitely, the school that I went to was very heavy in like research and evidence-based work, which is why I picked it. But truly, even though we did get an education on active care, a lot of it was focused on the adjustment, which is not a bad thing. Like I do appreciate it. It works. It helps people to get into a place where they can then do the work. That's how I kind of view it and how I
Mm-hmm.
explain it to people. So yeah, active care really was something that I got interested in college and I grad school rather, and I started exercising just on my own a little bit more and got a little bit more into fitness and wellness. So all kind of like trickled into what I have now going on. But yeah, so many people think that it's just about the adjustment. And honestly, muscle work is my first love. So I do a lot of massage and a lot of soft tissue work. That's what that means,
Mm-hmm.
to get the body just prepped to then take the adjustment, which is basically like a joint fart. That's how I explain
Can you
that to
explain
people.
that? Because I have never had an adjustment, and I have several clients that go to chiropractors and like, oh, I just got
Mhm.
adjusted. And it's like, I don't really know what that means. So can you like explain to us
Yeah.
what that specifically means?
Absolutely. So, what an adjustment is basically creating a pressure change in a joint. And sometimes the consequence of that pressure change is a release of gas, which is what you hear. And that's what the crack is. Actually,
Interesting.
right? Yeah, nothing's actually cracking or breaking. It's just gas releasing from joints. So, if I just like show you for people who are watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are, say this is your knee, right? You have
Yep.
your femur and you have your tibia. So, this is the bottom of your leg, the top of your thigh. In the middle, the bones aren't just touching, right? There's articular cartilage and there is liquid inside of that joint,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be capsulated. That's going to protect and keep the joint healthy, keep that articular cartilage healthy. So, because there's liquid in there, there are bubbles, there's gases. So, as we move, right, especially, people tell me this all the time. Like, I get up in the morning and I hear all these clicks and pops and I feel like I'm old and I'm rusty.
Mm-hmm.
Not the case. We'll get into that later. But that's what you're hearing. You're hearing the release of gas through pressure change in joints. So, how that applies to like pain is basically because between our bones and our joints, we have nerves exiting and they're communicating with the muscles and the brain and back and forth and all that kind of jazz. Sometimes pressure can be put on that due to lack of joint movement
Mm-hmm.
or muscle spasm or degeneration in the joint, which is also something that has a bad rap, but we'll get into that too. Either way, when we do adjustments, it releases pressure and helps to downregulate your nervous system. So it's kind of like a natural painkiller. So in the sense that it is very
I need this.
temporary. Yes, right? It is temporary though if we don't do the lifestyle change and we don't do the
Yes.
aftercare, which is the biggest part of it all. So I'm very like clear and explicit about that because man, some people on the internet be coming for chiropractors next with all these crack videos and like
Really?
debunking, like, yeah, just basically kind of slandering. We've had a history of that, which is kind of frustrating, but I'm just honestly open-minded to talk about it because like I want to get the thing straight, man. It's like
Yeah, because
everyone's different,
I'm over
you
here
know?
thinking you're snap crackling and popping me, and I'm super scared that like my neck might break. Like, honest to
Yeah.
God, when I've been to physical therapy, I have a trust issue with like people. Like, don't come near me. Like, I trust you.
I
Like,
don't
when I
blame
come
you.
to see
Yeah.
you, I'm just gonna be like this. But like, he's like holding my head. I'm like, buddy, what are we doing
What do
here?
you do? Yeah, it's
Yeah, and I'm just like,
vulnerable.
and I'm like super scared, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't do this. Because I was super scared that like something was gonna crack the
Totally.
wrong way. But the fact that you just like I feel better listening to what you
Mm-hmm.
just said, and you just like I can't wait. So
Yay.
a little bit. So I know we've chatted, here and there, but talk to me. You own your own business. So
Yes, I
tell me about
do.
that. So I find you very inspiring for several
Oh, thank
reasons. And one
you.
being a female business owner. And it is not easy to own your own business. And
No.
where I think we talked about like 17 hats, you're a social media manager, you run a business, you do your like, don't you feel like sometimes at the end of
Yeah.
the day, your head's spinning? But talk to me. Tell me about your business. Let me hear all about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not for the faint of heart, let me tell you. Like people think like you own your business, you get to control your schedule and
Mhm.
I mean and like you go whenever you want. Like that is true in a sense, but you always know what's going on. So it's never feeling so comfortable just to step away. So it's
Mhm.
hard. I have owned my own practice since 2017 actually, and I
Amazing.
started as an independent contractor. So just to
Mhm.
kind of just like describe that for people, it basically was a deal with a chiropractor that I was seeing my own patients, I was getting my own patients in her space in exchange for help with billing, and she kind of helped me with the admin, and there was like a fee split for that, but
Mhm.
I still was my own practice. I had a little bit of help, but it was totally on me. Like I was watching paint dry if no one walked through the door, so I was hustling for many a month to get people through the door, and before you knew it, it kind of started happening. And just working a lot. Like I at first, and I look back and think about what I did to like get this practice to where it is right now. I'm like, don't think I can have it in me anymore. Like
I have
all
goosebumps right now.
hours.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, because I understand.
Yeah. Hours, like walking around on my, just like for hours in the neighborhood, handing out flyers, literally cold in person with businesses trying to like maybe do a fair, maybe do a presentation. So it really was a lot, but I also was able to offset, the financial situation, because when you start, there's really nothing going on. You got to like have something going somewhere. I was covering other offices too, so I was like a hustler on 1,000, like when this first
I
started.
love this. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, because like, how do you, not to interrupt you, but
yeah,
how did you, like, where did your clients come from? So is there like, was it referrals predominantly? Was it you just reaching out? Like, how did you gain all of these
totally.
clients?
So online, I mean, when I first started, Instagram wasn't what it was. It wasn't like this like monster that can blow you up overnight or,
Mm-hmm.
beat you up in some cases.
Literally, girl, I
Oh,
know.
oh God, we'll get into that one. But there are like online doctor like search engines like ZocDoc, and just putting my Google Google reviews, having friends that I did treat in chiropractic school like write reviews for me and build that up. It really did help. Those search engines really helped to catapult my business. It really was something that helped a lot. And then once you get people through the door and they start talking, then you have referrals and people bring their family. And then all of a sudden it starts to have its own momentum, like outside of just like marketing online
Of
or,
course.
yeah. So that's how it really happened. And just keeping that close, like one-on-one care, I think really helps. And it wasn't something that was fake. Like I truly like lay my head at night thinking about my patients that are like in extreme pain, that I'm like, promise me, just do what I'm telling you and it's going to work. Like I'll be thinking about them like, oh my God, how are they feeling? What are they doing? Because it's an up and down battle with pain and with your body, and learning like how to use it as a tool as opposed to something to intimidate you. But yeah, putting my personality up front and just not like drawing a professional line as hard in the sand as traditional doctor patient relationships are. Like I just can't help but care, and you're gonna know I care in a very intense way. So I was like,
Yes,
instead of trying to stop that, I'm just gonna feed into it and show them how much I care. It's a delicate balance, because then you overwork and you overextend.
of
But
course.
if you can get it right, like people feel that and they know that you care and they don't trust anyone else. Like I have people that would never, ever in a million years, they come to me from all different boroughs, and COVID even really showed that to me. When all the work was not where my office was, people were still coming in. So like putting yourself out there and being authentic is also a huge part of that.
I love that you mentioned like how much you care, because that really like like if anyone's watching this and not just listening, like you'll see Ashley's eyes like light up about her patients. And it's true across all boards. Like when I train my clients, like I care, like I want them to be happy. I want them to
Yeah.
feel safe and healthy and all the things. It's like like I'll lay in bed at night, same thing. And I'm like, oh, I wonder, is Jenny like how she like all these things, because you genuinely care. And I think that
Yeah.
based off of that, that's why people are like, well, you have to go to Dr. Ashley Cruz. Like she's the best. Like you can't go to anyone else. And I think
Yeah.
that's probably how you just have been so successful. So can you explain to us, like, so you said you started in 2017. How how did you feel when you were like, I'm going to start this? Like what sparked
Whew.
that? So
Oh
I
man.
years wise, I don't really know like when you graduated and all that. So can you explain like what
Yeah.
sparked starting your own business, and then what sparked not using that person as like an assistant to help you? Like so walk us through that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I got a job right before I graduated. So I have always been the person that's like, I need to know everything 10 steps ahead, micromanage my life, going straight to grad school, going straight to this. So naturally, that's what I ended up doing. I was lined up for a job in Manhattan. I started like 2 weeks after graduation with no break, which was insane. If I went back now, I'd be like, girl, take like a freaking 6-month hiatus, because life is always going to be there. But anyway, and I found a practice that I thought resonated with the way that I wanted to treat my patients. And it was a female business owner. And it was all these things that I saw like myself hopefully accomplishing. So I was so excited to start. And unfortunately, it just wasn't what I expected in many ways. So I had to leave. It didn't feel right. I felt super drained and like totally overwhelmed and unhappy with what I was doing. And I was like, is this because I don't like what I'm doing, or is it the environment? And I really like,
Oh,
thought about that for a while. And I thought it was a combination, because what I was doing there was not what I was actually trying to do for people. And
right.
I didn't like the environment. So I was like, you know what? I need to get out of here. So I worked for them for about 4 months before I went off in private practice. And during like the last month and a half, I just reached out to see how much like it would cost to have a room rental.
Mm-hmm.
I had some mentors that I had shadowed during chiropractic school that just didn't have an associate opportunity for me when I graduated, but I was still close with. So I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to them, and everyone kind of told me the same thing. They're like, you need to be on your own in this field. Like, unfortunately, in the alternative medicine, pathway, it's way less of a easy insurance, like, gathering patients because they have to see you yearly kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
So being your own boss is really how you're gonna make this work for you financially and really like kill it in your field. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, all right, you know what? I'm used to being broke. I just graduated grad school. I have no money.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares if I don't have any money for another 6 months? I'm still broke now, so I might as well.
And you're just like, I just want to be happy, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I wanted to be happy, and I knew that was scary because I was like, yeah, I trust myself, but I'm also a novice. So I'm just like, am I ready for this? But so many people have done it. People like I was getting mentored by really like helped me go through this. And then when I pulled the trigger, I had planned out like a little bit of financial stability, like
Mm-hmm.
figured out how the business and all the paperwork. And then I took a 2-month break before I actually started. And I found this doctor that I did the independent contractorship through a rental opportunity. So I was just looking for a rent, and then she
Yeah.
handed me this opportunity. She was like, actually, how about we do this? And that was super helpful because I had not a cushion, because if I made no money, it was no money. But
Right.
I had somebody to help kind of guide me and help me with understanding the nuances of billing while still being my own boss and being in control of my schedule. Like I said, I was covering other offices who
Mm-hmm.
they ended up by universe just like worked it out for me because I covered for them just for a weekend, right? Two
Yeah.
different offices in the Bronx. And both of them reached out to me. They're like, the patients loved you. Would you want to stay on for like a weekly like spot? And I was like, yes, because I have no money. This is
Yes.
great. So I was working twice a week in the Bronx, working twice a week for myself. And then eventually, because I got a master's of anatomy and physiology instruction while I was in grad school, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm crazy and was like, what if my body doesn't work anymore? And I can't do this job, which was smart because it came in super handy. I got the master's to teach. And then
Mm-hmm.
I just was Googling every day, like jobs for teaching, jobs for teaching. I found a spot at the Swedish Institute of Health Sciences around
Mm-hmm.
the corner from my office. I was like, they called
That
me
could like
immediately, and then
that's
yeah,
great. Like the convenience and like the stars aligning for you, that's a
yeah,
little crazy.
it is
Like,
pretty crazy. It was like out of this world, coincidental. Like I did put in the work, but the stars aligned. Like
of course.
I can't like fake that at all. It was just like I can't believe all of this opportunity just kind of fell into my lap. So yeah, I was teaching around the corner in the mornings, doing afternoons in my office, going around to the Bronx until my office started picking up more, and then I
Mm-hmm.
cut down the Bronx because I was teaching more. Then I was doing half teaching, half chiropractic, building my business. And then when I finally decided to make the plunge last year to cut ties with this doctor,
Mm-hmm.
not in a bad way, I was just like, you know what? I need to be in full control. I want to do
Yeah,
this on my own. I want my own space. I'm tired of having to clean up and change the scenes from
of
her space
course.
to
You just
my
want your
space.
own thing.
Yeah, I was like, let me do this. And it was after COVID, which was insane. And I can't believe that we're still kicking, honestly. I was a shot in the dark. When COVID hit, I was still in that contract. Um, and then, I said, you know what, might as well start, because I started doing social media a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That started kicking up for me. That was all a response to COVID. Truly. I never did any like Instagram, nothing until COVID. And
Like
yeah.
I'm so inspired by this because you literally work so hard, and I didn't know all of that before. Like I just have seen you like run your own business now, and you're always happy traveling, just like super successful. Like you beam through social media, and it's not like I'm not
Oh,
blowing
thank
smoke up
you.
your like it's just true. Like you just look so happy and fulfilled, and it's like intoxicating to watch. And it's funny you bring up social media, because social media, like I like want to fight it every day. And
Yeah.
then like I made that new Instagram because social media was like, oh,
Yeah.
you're ineligible to get monetized and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh my God, like I didn't even know you could get monetized. And now I'm already just
Yeah.
being shot down completely. And then no lie, I had a month of that new social media. It's like, oh, you can get monetized now on this one. So I'm like, okay. But
Just
anyway,
switching
social
back.
media, literally. So talk to me about like social media and what you do, because I like just from a bystander, it looks like you're doing a great job on social media. So talk me through like what you do on a daily or weekly basis to keep on top of social media and ensure that
Oof.
you're gaining some traction.
Yeah. That is a doozy, man. So like I said, like I was home for 3 months. I took a hiatus in my practice when COVID hit because New
Hmm.
York City was insane. I was like, you know what? I love my job. However, I want to stay alive. I don't know
Of
what the hell's
course.
going on. I'm
Hmm.
shutting down. Thank
Yep.
God I had that teaching gig. So I was just picking up extra classes, teaching virtually. I was like, this was why I did this for this
That's
moment.
amazing. I didn't know that. So you were
Yeah.
teaching virtually. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they switched over completely virtual when everything hit. And
Perfect.
yep. So I was like, you know what? Great. Sign me up for 2 more
Yep.
classes. I'm going to put a pop pin in the chiropractic right now.
Hmm.
But then I was like, oh, I want to give my people something that I'm not there. So I started posting on social media and that really started to kick off. I got tons of new inquiries like during COVID when I was piecemealing myself back into in person. I was getting a lot of new patients, and that's
Hmm.
how I got them because I'm like, listen, I work in Flatiron, like a business area. No one freaking lives around there. So I
Hmm.
was like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose everything because no one lives there and no one's gonna commute to come see
Oh,
me.
see, I
I
didn't
thought
know
in my
that
head,
either.
like, yeah, I was like, no one's gonna commute to see me. I'm fucked. This is over. Like
Hmm.
that's what I
Of
really thought for a
course.
while. So that's what that was the fire to really do the social media. And then, slowly over the time when things started opening up more, I saw that people were traveling from Brooklyn, traveling from Queens, like people were still riding for me. It was so amazing. And then I got a lot of new patients. So social media, I was doing an amazing job when all I had to do was, teach virtually and be home. And
Yeah.
as soon as I started picking back up, that's when the trouble hits. When you have, as you know, too, like you train clients in person, you're doing virtual plans and like things like that take time. So doing all that back end insurance, oh my
Hmm.
God. And then to have time to post, it's like I truly do this in between patients. Like I'll put a patient on electric stim, like some heat, a little bit of stretching, traction,
Oh,
and then
I
I'm like
love all
in the
this.
other room. Oh, so good. I'm in the other room, like dancing like a monkey in front of my
Stop.
tripod. Yeah.
But
And
like your reels are so cute. It's so like I want to watch
thank
it.
you. Yeah, I try my best. I just like kind of observe from the other people I've
Of
met on social
course.
media and made a lot of friends. Like truly in the last 2 years, I've like made friends through online, which sounds like so funny. I feel like before COVID and before I started getting into posting, I was just like, online friends sounds kind of sketchy. Like, no,
Well, that's because
not for
the way
me.
we grew up, there was no social media. And then Instagram wasn't really a
Yeah,
thing until like the end of college, I think. So
exactly. Yeah, it was my senior year. That was like a bigger
exactly.
thing.
And like that, because we just made friends organically, which there's nothing wrong with making friends online either, but like
Yeah, there isn't.
it's new. And actually, now that you bring it up, so I saw that you went on a trip recently. That looked fabulous.
Yes.
So what is
Oh,
that
so
all about? So are
fun.
you in like what is it? Is it like a business that you're part of or
Yeah, so I actually just went on a trip with my friend Shirley Tavares. She is a owner of a curly hair brand called House of Curls,
mhm.
and I met her through social media. She is really good friends with another trainer in New York City, Samantha Ortiz, and she came in because she found me on Instagram to get treated. So
Mhm.
she spread the word, then she started coming in, and then she invited me to a few of her business events, and then we all kind of became friends. So yeah, she had a retreat in Riviera Maya in
Wow.
Mexico for her brand, and we just had such a good time. Like she organized it amazingly, and we just had a blast. Like it was so great. And I'm like, wow, look at that! I would have never met any of these girls. So we had such a blast, and
Mhm.
we're always like running around together, which is fun. Um, and I met so many other people too from Instagram. It's like crazy. Mentor, like people who I can lean on in the field too, like other PTs and chiropractors and trainers that are like so nice and open to conversation and lifting each other up. And it's such a nice breath of fresh air because, you know, I didn't really feel like I was lifted up in the beginning of my career. And to find
Of
people who are
course.
truly about you just because they want to see you win is like amazing. So I'm
It
very
sounds
thankful for
like
that.
it literally sounds like you have such a great support system, not only like friends and family, but like people that you've met online. So you met all of these. So I have a question. So if you ever see like someone online, do you just and you're inspired by them, or say it's another chiropractor, do you just send them a
Mhm.
message, like link up? Like, how does that work? Because you keep mentioning mentors, and that's something that I'm honestly trying to look for because sometimes I feel very, and you could probably relate, like very alone because
Yeah.
I'm by myself all day. Like, yes, I have clients as you do too, but it's like,
But that's it. You don't have that camaraderie. Like you can't just chat about your
nothing.
day, complain
No,
and bitch about something. You're the
something.
only person.
And
I
like
know.
poor Maurizio, like, he gets home and he's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I just,
Oh my God. Yeah.
I don't know what to." I'm like, I want to complain, but like, I don't want to chew your ear off about it. I need help doing this, but like, it's not like your thing to help me. But like, so do you ever
Oh,
feel that way?
that is like exactly the way I feel all the time. You can ask Taylor. Oh my God. You just said
Oh my
everything that I feel.
God.
I come home and sometimes like my schedule is packed back to back. Like for 3 hours, I'm going from patient to patient to patient to patient for 3 hours straight. No pee break, no nothing, no snack break.
Oh Jesus.
I'm like tweaking by the end of the night. And I freaking sit there and Taylor's always like, where are you? Like you're done at this time. I'm like this, staring at a corner for 15 minutes just to kind of bring myself
Of
back.
course.
Because emotionally, you give a lot when you give service, any kind of customer service, regardless of what type, doctor, trainer, like freaking work in retail, like you have to give a lot of you
Yes.
emotionally and you have to care. And it's part of your job. Like
Yes.
I never realized that until I finally was in the thick of it, that I'm like, you know what, pick your career based on like what you can stand to do on a day to day. You may be passionate about something. Sometimes it's not the right fit. For me, thank God it was,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's not the right fit because it's so draining. Yeah. So I will chew my therapist ear off about it a lot, but I will also like Taylor, man, if I have a bad week, like I feel bad because we don't spend a lot of time together during
Of
the week because I'm
course.
coming home. No joke. Mondays and Thursdays, I'm at work at 9 a.m. Last patient leaves around 7:30. I don't leave until 7:45, 8 o'clock. I'm not getting home till like almost 9 o'clock, right? To get
And
ready and shower and do the
and
whole
you
thing
take the
over again.
train, right, to go home?
Yeah,
You're
taking the
probably
train at
just
night,
like,
zonked. Yeah.
because
So
you nailed it, honestly. Like, I listen, you probably are in the same, actually, yeah, because I'm just thinking about how I talk to my physical therapist, who treats on me too. Like, you just talk to them, and you're on the other end, you're just listening. It's like there's only so much you can take in a day, not in a negative way, but like you're
truly,
giving
I know.
so much
Yeah.
energy and you're hearing all these crazy things. I don't know, like, honestly,
Yep.
I tell all my
Yep.
clients I'm going to write a tell all because they're all nuts in the best way possible. Like, I hear everything. And then
It's like
sometimes
hair salon gossip, right? You think of like the traditional like barbershop talk. It's like
crazy.
totally. You're like a therapist, you're a
Yep.
trainer, a
Yep.
chiropractor, a confidant. And I love that I'm able to give
Yep.
that to my people. Don't get me wrong, this is all positive,
Oh yeah.
but it also is draining. Like it is extremely emotionally
Yes.
draining.
That's why, like, poor Marito, like, will be like, "Oh, do you want to talk about it?" And I'm like, "Nope." And it's like
Yeah.
I have no words left to talk. And
Yeah.
like, so like you nailed it. Like, I miss the camaraderie because I like forever worked in gyms. Literally until COVID hit, I worked in gyms with a bunch of people. I could choose to talk to all the other trainers and people, or I was literally just like chilling out by myself working out or something. So
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that you have that camaraderie of people around you and like support
Yeah.
systems, because I'm still trying to like figure my way out with that, because there's like networking groups, but like there's no,
Yeah.
like, fitness is like a thing, but it's not like, do you know what I mean? Like, I can't find like a group of
I
girls that like
totally get
I
you.
want to like
You
mesh
got to
with.
make your own, girl. I'm telling you, just
I,
reach out. Like I've like most of the people that I've like in terms of like other people who are doing chiropractic or PT or trainers, I've DM'd them or they DM'd me. Like we're just like, I love your stuff. I'll repost it. That's how I kind of like started getting you know, a little group together that I would say, oh, I really love this PT stuff. I just kept looking at it. I'm like, you know what, F it, I'm gonna shout her out. Then I started shouting her out, then we started talking, and now
Mhm.
like we'll like hit each other up every time we post, you know, like also having some like a group of people that can like support your posts. There was a chiropractor in the city, a female chiropractor, that sent a message to me and a bunch of other NYC chiropractors, and we made like an Instagram group to hype
Stop.
each other's posts up. So we'd be like, hey, I just posted something, and go like and comment on it, and everyone would just like fly to each other's pages. So yeah, it can happen. And if you look at any strategies, like I have spent so much time, especially in COVID, like Googling and
Mhm.
looking at YouTube videos of strategies for Instagram and social media.
Mhm.
And they're like, that is part of it. Like setting aside maybe 20 minutes a day to just write and reach out to people. Love your stuff. cool, awesome, whatever, send a
Mm-hmm.
voice note, whatever, make it a little bit easier. Some people say that is,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be surprised what comes back. It's really crazy. I don't do it all the time. I wish I had more time to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but that is definitely a way you can kind of like get a little networking going.
I think that's great advice, honestly, because sometimes I feel very like I'll have my clients or say typically on average, I have like 6 to 8 a day, but then I'm also working on programs. So on my downtime, which isn't too much, I'm like, how should I structure this time? I go on Instagram, I'll create a reel and then I post, but it's like that camaraderie. So
Yeah.
honestly, I think that's really great advice. And I'm going to start looking around because whether it's someone that does stretching, which is really interesting, I obviously
Hmm.
have physical therapists. You're far away, but not far away for social media. So that's really great
Yeah.
advice. I actually wanted to ask you something else. So because you're a business owner, do you ever feel like you are unsuccessful? Because sometimes, okay, yeah. So explain to me, like, do you ever feel that? Because I'll get in these like burnouts where I'm working so much and like so focused, and I'm like, I feel like out of nowhere, I'll be like, I feel unsuccessful. So talk to me
Yep.
about that.
It is a roller coaster of emotions, let me tell you. I try so hard and it's still 5 years in. I'm just like, I can't fully remove myself from like looking at the schedule for the next week before this week's over and being like, oh my God, nobody's on it. I'm good. I'm done. This is over. Like things like that. And, sometimes you have difficult clients, like,
Mhm.
someone who's just not getting better, even though you've like really spent time to construct a plan for them. And it feels like, damn, like I'm getting on myself. Like I'm not good enough for this. It
Of
happens.
course.
And you have to just keep believing that, somehow you got here and it's going to continue. That energy is still going to be there. It's really tough. Like I don't even know if I can have a real straight answer. It's just like recognizing the pattern and being like, okay, sometimes I realize I feel this way more when I'm not giving myself enough alone time,
Hmm.
um, and just like relax time. So I am like, okay, I think I need to like cancel my plans for this weekend, just stay home, like regroup, take some,
Like
time to,
reset.
yeah, exactly. Take some time away too. Like I truly this year, I call this my like revenge vacation year because truly every patient and everyone I know is like, you are always on vacation. I'm like, you know what? Yes, because
You deserve
it
it.
took me so freaking long to finally get to a place in my business where I was comfortable taking enough time off, and then COVID hit after grad school, after all this stuff where I hadn't traveled.
Hmm.
So taking that time, I realized I feel so much happier this year. I'm like, yeah, I closed almost about a month of the entire year. When I look at it, I've taken about like 4 weeks of vacation in the year,
Good.
but I'm happy.
You
And you know
worked your
what?
ass off.
Exactly. And I do, and I deserve it. And giving yourself that time and not feeling like you're selfish is also a huge part of it. You have to give your time, just like unplug and turn it off. Like it's tough. And especially with social media, like to your point, like if I don't do social media in my breaks during the week, then it floods into my weekend. And then all of a sudden I'm working 7 days a week. And that's when my brain goes berserk.
Like I can relate. So the past like 2 weeks, I've had clients. I don't train clients on Saturdays and Sundays. It's like my time to not. Sundays I like to do like family time and Maurizio time.
Mhm.
And then Saturdays is just kind of like a toss up what I want to do. And that's like how
Yeah.
I want to do my schedule. And then the last couple of weeks, my client's like, will you train on Saturdays and Sundays? And I'm like, so we talked about this earlier, the boundaries thing and like setting
Yeah.
time. I'm like, like I like get
It's
torn. I'm
so
like,
hard.
I want to, because you want to help people so much and you want to accommodate so much. And like,
Yep.
you also want to be like always having clients and, get like
Yeah.
earning money. And you're like, literally, I haven't responded to this girl since this morning. She texted me at 8 a.m. She's like, will you treat me on Saturdays? And I'm like, but
I know.
how did you like, it seems like you've been pretty successful with managing your time and setting boundaries. Do you have any advice for me and anyone out there listening?
It's just yeah, right. I'm like, I'm still working on it.
We're
It
all
changes.
working on it, but is
Yeah,
there anything that you're
it
like, this is
changes.
how?
So first and foremost, you gotta just say, okay, what is a non-negotiable? Like, what do you need to like stay sane? For
Hmm.
me, it's like I need at least 2 consistent days in a row where I don't think about work. So Saturday, Sunday just has to be
Hmm.
like not an on day. So I try not to like get into anything that feels like work. So sometimes like social media is fun. Like I do post like curly hair tutorials once in a
Hmm.
while, do like some like little like fun posts. Those things I can do because it's fun for me. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's fun. I don't feel like it's work. So just putting a hard boundary on that. Like And if you feel, because I think it's hard as a business owner, especially when you see it taking off at that first glimpse, you're like, I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to be on
Yes,
all the time. I
of
want all the
course.
money. It's money on the table. Imagine how much money I can make if I was open on Saturdays. No, like your mental health is never going to be worth sacrificing. So you need to really weigh that. And if you can't like fully like cut it off, then like test drive stuff. Like I was doing Saturdays for a little bit,
Mhm.
but I saw a consistent lack of like people following through because they don't want to get up at 10:30 in the
Of
morning and go
course.
to a
And it's
chiropractor after partying all
Saturday.
Friday. Exactly, right? So I've noticed, like, especially where I worked too, it's all like where you are too. Weigh
Mhm.
your options. Maybe if Saturday is more lucrative for you in this case, like take a Wednesday off. Take a day that, like, you don't have to just play around with it, but you need to make sure you make those boundaries and make time for you. That's like huge. And take breaks. Like I've noticed this year, like I look back at my calendar, I'm like, who the hell was that bionic freak that was seeing like 70 patients a week, 80 patients a week by herself? Like nutty.
That's too much. I mean,
Raise the price and shut the schedule. That's
exactly.
it.
That's some great advice when you say, actually, for anyone out there listening too, is you said, well, maybe Saturdays are more lucrative for whatever business you're in rather than a Wednesday or maybe Thursday, and maybe taking a midday break. And I think honestly, sometimes for me during the summer days, that actually works better. So that's really good advice. Um,
Yeah.
so also, excuse me, you were on the news. I just randomly remembered this. Talk to me about how
Yeah.
that happened. So, was it last year? Just tell me
It
about
was
it.
like maybe a little bit over a year ago. I was just looking at that because you could pin things on Instagram. Now I was like, let me
It
pin
won't
this
let
right
me
there.
do that.
What?
Why?
You know, things
Why?
roll out. And I follow a bunch of pages that do debunk all these kind of things too. And they're just like, the Instagram rolls things out at a
Uh,
slow ass pace. So like sometimes people will have stuff like I didn't have a music sticker for so long. And then all of a sudden I had one. I was like, okay. But
I can't search music on my Instagram. If I want to post, say, like, I don't know, whatever song I want, it doesn't let me search songs ever. Has never, will never.
oh my
So any reel that I've
God.
ever posted, it's like, say you posted that song, I have to
Mhm.
save that song. But
Oh, you can't
it can't be
search
like a
it.
song from like Bad Bunny. Like I can't look up a Bad Bunny song and save it.
That's so
Nothing.
annoying.
Yeah, sorry. But
Ugh,
yeah, just to
at
like,
them.
yeah, I know. You know what? I'm just gonna
Instagram's
tread
such a pain in the
lightly.
ass. Yeah, right. Before they get crazy. Yeah. So wait, what was it? What was the
You
question?
were on
I
the news. Yeah.
forgot. Yes, I was okay. I was on the news. This truly was insane. It was another like during quarantine, during like the thick of it. Things were kind of like getting a little bit better, but it still was like stay away
Hmm.
from me kind of
Of
vibes.
course.
And I woke up to a DM from Bianca Peters, who's on the morning news on Fox 5, and she just DM'd me. She literally was just like, hey, I want to do a story on chiropractic. Is it okay that we come to your office? I was like, yes, it's okay. You can come to my office.
Did you like shit yourself? Because I would have been like, oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God. I freaked out. It was the first thing I saw in the morning. I screamed, and Taylor was like, what happened? I was like, I just got like asked to be on the news. I'm so
Oh my
pumped.
God.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was really just luck. Like I swear, it was just also because a lot of people were turning to social media at that time
Hmm.
to build their businesses and start virtual businesses. Like that was like the epitome of the start of all of this, I feel like. So it had a lot of traction. Like I gained like I don't post consistently, and I feel like for the amount that I put in, I've grown a lot
Hmm.
based on just having that bounce too, like that, like jumping off point. Instagram changes, TikTok all of a sudden started becoming a thing. All these things are going to change, but you have to just keep consistent. It's the same thing as like, I try to view this way because it takes every inch of me to not fucking put my head through the wall when I spend 5 hours on a fucking reel and it goes so badly.
Doesn't
I'm
go
like,
anywhere.
ah!
And you're
You
like,
know?
why? It's so good and it's cute and I did all these things.
Yep. No, no. Let me tell
No.
you, every single video that I posted that has gotten like 20,000 views or like
It took you
17,
30
18,000,
seconds, right?
I'm like, fuck it. I'm
Stop.
just going to post this. I need to. I haven't posted in a while. Bye. All of a sudden, like the one last night, I was like, okay, cool. Almost 18,000 views. I'm almost pissed that this happened.
So I did the same thing with, I have a Stairmaster in my garage, and I was like, I found like this really like inspiring, like, I think it was 8-second clip. I'm like, ah. And I've like in the deck, in my garage, on the Stairmaster, 8 seconds, 10,000 views like instantly. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm not that cool. And I was like, that literally took me 30 seconds. And then like other
Yep.
ones that I'm like piecing together, like doing all the things,
Oh yeah.
100. And I'm like,
Yep.
wow, like I'm really like, I'm failing.
I know. Every time I do anything that's like very educational, I feel like when I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna voice record over this music and give everyone really good instructions. That shit, no one has the brain space for it. So like I try to reroute my way of like how I work on social media too, to be like, this is just a snippet. This is not to like give you a whole program. Cause also like you need to get diagnosed by
Of
somebody. If you're
course.
doing these like I try to like put the emphasis on like, listen, these are options. If you're healthy and feeling great, try them. They're great. If you have an actual issue, you need to get that addressed so then we can further go in, because nothing is one size fits all. I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you, like I've had people with the exact same complaints. They will not respond to the same program.
Of
One, this
course.
responds, the other responds to another thing. So I just try to keep it light and fun and just give people little quick options, and like doing less. The first videos I look at, oh my gosh, when I was first posting, 8 different exercises in like a minute long video. I'm like, no, 20 seconds, show them, break down one exercise, one stretch,
Mm-hmm.
give a couple of options that somebody can do in 2 seconds. And truly like catching people's attention. It's like a game. It's like, yeah, I want to give this information that's obviously valuable, like
Yep.
objectively valuable,
Yep.
objectively valuable, but you have to sell it. So all of that shit is what takes time. Like, you've got to
It's
try this
literally a
cool
game.
stretch.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Maurizio, I'm refreshing. This is a game. I got to see how many like views I'm going to get. He's like, you got to relax. And I was like, okay. And I put the phone
I know.
away.
Also, that is something I feel that so hard. Last night,
You're like, how many views?
I get like obsessed and I'm like staring at my phone for like hours. I'm like, no, post
Yeah.
it, put my phone away. It's hard, but it's for mentally and for like me to like spend time with my boyfriend. I'm like, let me put this phone away because
He's like
he's gonna
trying to
kill
kiss you.
me.
You're like, hold on, I gotta see how many
Yeah,
views
he's
is
gonna
on this
he's
right
gonna
now.
kill me because I got home like at 9 o'clock. I'm posting this reel and editing the caption as we're sitting here for another hour. And
Yep.
then for the next 2 hours, I'm stalking my phone to see how it did. It's like, no, it's robbing me of my life.
We
So
all do it. But
I
actually, I
know.
realized I didn't ask you. So, as far as your treatment, so we did talk, we do, it's not just snap, crackle, and pop. Talk to me about the treatments that you actually give your clients, because I know you do some cupping. Like, talk to us.
Yeah. So I do a lot of soft tissue work. So this will run you through like a new patient visit. Like new patient visits an hour. They're going to come in. They'll already have filled out all the paperwork. I send it
Mm-hmm.
electronically, so it's all done. And then we just talk about what they're feeling. I let them kind of just give them 5 minutes at least to just talk freely. Like I truly don't even ask any questions in the first 5 minutes. I just let you vent, because all the information, like doctors told me once, like in the school, that 90% of what you're going to do and what you need to find is just let them talk.
Yeah.
You'll find it right there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just like rushing fast to get things done, you're going to miss a lot. So anyway, I let them talk. We'll dive into like the most like intense complaint if they have multiple, because I am great but I'm not a magician, so we got to work piece by
Mm-hmm.
piece. And then we do orthopedic tests, range of motion, try to rule out certain diagnoses based on what they're complaining of.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the time, if it's like a generically like day to day, my back is stiff because I'm on a computer all day kind of scenario, for example, we'll do a little bit of instrument assisted soft tissue work. So I use these like metal blades. If you've ever
Oh
seen like
yeah.
someone do gua sha.
Yeah, I've had that done, and I also have one because I do it on like my tendonitis and in my neck.
Yeah, it's so great. It really is awesome. So I do that on the muscles that I want to loosen up if they're in spasm,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll do some cupping. So I do vacuum cupping as well, which is really awesome. I love it. It makes you
Girl,
look
it's
like
like
you
my
lost,
favorite. I could get cupped every day. It's
right?
probably not healthy, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. You'll have bruises like everywhere. Taylor gets cupped like so often. I'm like, dude, you're gonna be so purple everywhere. We have to like
That's
space it out.
okay. I'm with
Yes,
him on that.
right. It's so good. So that just again brings fresh blood flow to the
Mm-hmm.
muscles, relaxes it. Anytime you have pressure on a muscle, that's why it feels good to like kind of stretch and like get in there, because it makes your nervous system calm down. It truly like down regulates nerves that are hyperactive, that are malfunctioning essentially because they're causing pain. So once that's done and we can give you that relief, then I go into checking range of motion again, because muscles can restrict your range of motion. So we want to get rid of that. Once that's gone, if there's still any remaining tension that's outside of that, I'll adjust. I don't always adjust every side of everyone and do
Mm-hmm.
everything top to bottom. I assess and make sure, do you need this? Like some people are super hypermobile and I don't want to be adjusting them. We're going to do more exercise and do more stability.
Mm-hmm.
So if I need to adjust, I'll adjust. I do also traction as well. So some patients, like for lumbar, lower back issues, sciatica, my table like will flex them and kind of stretch. It feels like a inversion
Ooh.
table, but you're like laying face down. It's really great.
I think I've seen you post about that. That's so.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that means? You said it's traction.
Yeah,
So,
so traction of a joint is
mhm,
basically like taking the two sides of the joint and pulling away. So
mhm,
as you're making space in the joint, it's decreasing the pressure and kind of moving that gas as well, because you
mhm,
may hear some pops. And it also alleviates pressure on the nerves, because in between, especially in the spine, every two vertebra, we have a disc that's like a little pillow in between the bones. And then
mhm.
we also have a nerve that's going to exit out. So sometimes the pressure in the joints can put pressure on your nerves, or muscles that are tight can put pressure on your nerves, or degeneration, arthritis can put pressure on your nerves. So traction helps to open up those joints,
That sounds
hydrate the
lovely.
discs, and put less pressure on the nerve that's giving you a problem. So it's really great. I love it.
So, in like a given day, do you typically do all these types of treatments or like,
Yeah, pretty much everything gets done at least once in the office. A lot of scraping. People love it. Like, love the muscle work. So I do a lot of scraping,
mhm.
cupping. I do traction on patients who really need it, but also like it feels good. Sometimes people just want to have a little bit of traction. That won't hurt. It's like a little stretch. And yeah, adjustments and different exercises depending on what their issue is.
All right. Well, one of my last questions actually is so we talked about how you went to school for chiropractic and you are a professor. So prior to school, like to college, what sparked your interest in becoming a chiropractor?
That's a good question, because I feel like most in school, it was like a mix between just like winding roads of how we got here. No one
Hmm.
thought they were going to do this, but they're doing it.
Hmm.
Some people were like super chiro families where their parents were chiropractors and their grandparents and all that. For me, I knew I wanted to do something in healthcare. Like I thought
Hmm.
I wanted to be a pediatrician for years, my
Oh, I
whole
could
life.
see you
I
as a pediatrician
yeah,
because you love children.
I love kids. I wanted to be a pediatrician so badly forever, for years and years and years. Even in college, I was like, I'm dead set. I'm going to med
Hmm.
school. I'm going to be a pediatrician. When I was shadowing, it was so heart wrenching. It's like I thought my whole mindset was like, I get to give kids lollipops and kiss their
Of
boo
course,
boos. And like,
you don't think
like
about bad things.
yeah. So I was like, you know what? I don't know if emotionally I am, if I can
Hmm.
handle that. And I don't know if I want to be able to emotionally handle that kind of like sadness sometimes. So it's not
Hmm.
forever, but like I was like, because a lot of people were just like, come on, it's not forever. You can go through the rotations, you'll be fine. I'm like, no, I don't think I want to do that. So I felt so lost in sophomore year of college or junior year. I had an integrative neuroscience major. I'm like, what the am I going to do with that? Am I going to be a freaking like researcher? I'm not a research type person. Like I will die if I sit at a desk researching
You want
rats
to
all
be
day.
with people.
Yeah, like I need to be with people. I need to be doing something. I can't be I could never work at a computer like all day.
Hmm.
I do work at a computer a lot of the time, but I can't do it all day for oh
Right.
my God, I will die. So my mom actually was in a car accident, which she was fine, thank God, but she got chiropractic care from a local chiropractor. And I was
Hmm.
home for winter break and I went with her. And I remembered her because my dad was in a car accident years and years before that. Really bad, actually. He was off of work for
Jeez.
like a year and a half. He got head on collision
Oh my
by
God.
an off duty cop, and my dad is a cop. So he got hit like that off the job for like a year and a half, and she helped him a lot. And I remember like vaguely have childhood memories of her adjusting me when I was like 5 or 4, like literally that young. And then I never thought about it again. My parents really weren't into chiropractic
Of
like
course.
as a
Yeah.
lifestyle. But when we went back with my mom, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember Dr. Lynn. And she was like, how are you? You're so big. How's your life? What's going on? And I was just like, funny you ask, because I'm like totally lost. I don't know what I'm
Hmm.
doing. She was like, what are you studying? Like naturally questions you would ask. And she was like, well, do you want to like shadow me? You totally can. And I was like, you know what? I will. I'll shadow you. And then
Yeah.
when I
Why not?
shadowed her, I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a community. Like it feels like she's seeing her friends like as the day goes on. Like people
Hmm.
really loved her. Like the energy was just like high. And even in like painful scenarios, it's like just enough crazy to like be serious, but not enough to drive me mad. That's what I
Yes.
feel like. I've had some scenarios where I've found things like kidney infection that were masquerading as lower back pain. But that's truly, I'm lucky enough to not have had any other
Jeez.
crazier scenarios, because there are tons. Like back pain is like the number one thing you get for many different things. So ruling out and knowing what you can't treat is a huge part of this, more so than anything else, I would say. Where are the red flags? But anyway, it was awesome. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. So I went and I never turned back. And here I am.
Look at you now, 5 years into owning your own business and
Yeah,
thriving. So
it's crazy.
actually, this is my actual last question that I like to ask everybody. So, Dr. Ashley Cruz, what would you tell 8-year-old Ashley?
Oh, just to do you, girl. Like, don't care so much and do what feels right. Like, my gut has never left me astray, even though I've been so insecure and doubtful of like what I should do and like how I should move. And I need to ask all these people and get approval and like feel like everyone's in agreement for a certain move. No, like do what the fuck you want to do, little girl. Like it's going to
Mhm.
work out. And if it doesn't, who cares? You just do something else. It's true. If I told you how many people like, and it was all from a concerning, like I know it came from a good place.
Of course.
So many of my families, when I told them I was going to start my own practice, they were like, you sure? Are you sure? Like, is this a good idea?
Because they
Yeah,
were just nervous for you, of
I
course, but
get
they
it.
were
And it
like,
was totally like from a good place, like I'm
mhm.
concerned. My parents were never doubtful. They're like, do it, go ahead. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, I'm doubting myself now because not everyone's on board. But I'm like,
Yep.
you know what? If you live like that, you're never going to be happy. You have to just go for it. Because like I said, I was broke then. What can I do? Get a little broker? Fine. Like I'm already broke.
But you're
Might as
happy,
well
you're
start.
fulfilled. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was like, start that business. And if not, I get another job because I have a chiropractic license. That's
Exactly.
it. So just do it.
Ashley, you're inspiring for many reasons, not just because you're a business owner. You're a great person, a great friend,
Thank
and
you.
someone that should and super motivating. So your information will be linked below on podcast, Spotify, everything. So if anyone out there listening is as motivated, inspired as me, you can reach out to Dr. Ashley Cruz there. And Ashley,
Yay.
thank you so, so much for agreeing to be on my podcast. It means the world to me.
Oh, it was such an honor to be on it. Thank you for asking me. I had such a blast. Thank
Thanks.
you.
And for everyone
Yay.
listening, make sure you like, subscribe, all the things. And we'll see you in the next episode. Have a great day, morning, night, whatever time it is. See everyone soon. Bye bye.
Bye.